What's up, everybody? Cranky Yankee coming back with another video, keeping you updated for the Mexico Grand Prix. If you are new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. I will give you all the videos like this one today, which we're going to get to the breaking news. I'm not going to hide the ball or bury the lead. We are going to be talking about the Renault, the Racing Point allegation against Renault about the preset brake bias system that they thought they had. This came hours after the Japanese Grand Prix, and so initially there's not a lot, people are not talking about this too much yet, but initially the idea was, well, they're just putting out some complaint, and then we learned a little bit more last week, and I talked about this on the video, actually, ironically, about whether to dig into this. So thankfully I already was all week, so I was kind of caught up on this. And what they had thought was happening was with Hulkenberg and Ricciardo's car, I'm not going to pretend I'm some engineer, so take it easy, give me some rope. But essentially what they were alleging was happening was there was a preset distance set on the brake bias system. Now, if there's a preset distance on the brake bias, then depending on the gravity loads, depending on the lateral forces, depending on the overtaking, where you are on the car, the car will basically do all the calculations for you. So I had been basically likening it to if you're a rocket scientist and you're trying to get somewhere, at every instantaneous point you understand the gravity loads, which gives you better trajectory, and basically if you peel that back into Formula One, the drivers really do have that kind of, and that's the insane technical driving skill of these drivers. They have the ability to make these micro adjustments, but there's still human error. And so if you're good at overtaking and you have some sort of preset distance on your brake bias, the car will do all the work for you and you'll be flawless. And so every single instance is heightened that much more. And Racing Point had been alleging that they had a preset distance, so the car was doing all the calculations for you. Now, that is against the FIA rule, and I'll get to the ruling itself. So I'll read from the actual ruling. And the outcome was, this isn't technically a breach. This doesn't technically constitute what Racing Point had been alleging, but it is still a breach. And I think that in layman's terms, how I'm, in terms of the political components of that answer, what I'm reading that is they took advantage of a loophole and they're being punished for it. So they're being stripped of their points from only the Japanese Grand Prix, which introduces a whole new set of questions, but it's about Article 27.1 of the Formula One sporting regulations. So what they say, while Renault used innovative solutions to exploit certain ambiguities in the technical regulations and other supporting documents, their system does not breach any current technical regulation. And so they were saying that this is actually from a former employee, so a whistleblower, and they had not actually produced any video evidence. So I'm assuming this is going to it's going to have some bad blood between Cyril and the leadership team at Renault, because this really was built on a false narrative, but nonetheless, it is still exploiting. And let's read on. So the Renault system constitutes a driver aid and is therefore not in compliance with Article 27.1 FIA Formula One sporting regulations, as I just read, which requires the driver to drive the car alone and unaided. So they're calling this an aid, but not necessarily like a computer automation perfect calculation of the preset brake bias like they had been alleged. The brake balance adjustment system in question acts as a driver aid by saving the driver from having to make a number of adjustments during the lap, like I kind of talked about. So, you read that for how you want, but essentially they're taking away their points from the Japanese Grand Prix and the Japanese Grand Prix alone. Now, that may not seem like a big deal, but that actually kicks them out of the top 10 and the Drivers' Championship. And it actually bumps some of the drivers back up. So I'll actually adjust the final results on the actual site. But this is huge news. And it actually puts Sergio in the top 10. So again, huge news going into Mexico. But my lingering question was, how long has this really been going on? Because if you put can you guys hear that? Sorry. If you put some sort of penalty that's just one race, what if this has been going on a lot longer? So I assume more information is going to come out, but this seems like a odd ruling. They must either know a lot more and not saying, or this is just maybe they really do feel like this was a very small breach and the punishment fits the crime sort of thing. So more is going to come out, but for now, all points have been stripped away from Renault in just this race for now. And they have until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning in Mexico time. So thinking back to the when we're gearing up for the Grand Prix, so we might as well talk in Mexico time. So yeah, 10 o'clock tomorrow. I don't think they're gonna. It doesn't look like they're actually gonna go ahead and they're not gonna challenge this. It's a breach. They were smart about it, and they've probably been doing it all season. I have no way to know that. So allegedly, but yeah, this is a breach, and it kicks both the drivers out of the top 10. So I just wanted to give you that quick update. More will come, and it looks like I don't really know how Racing Point figured this out. Again, Renault's leadership thinks it's a whistleblower from a former employee. I'm not really sure who. Some people are speculating some pretty obvious people. I doubt it. But that is the update, and that is the news. And I will, if anything else comes of this, I'll update the blog, and I'll give you another quick update, likely, if it's worth noting to you. Otherwise, make sure to keep an eye out for this channel, because I'll be giving you all the updates going into the Grand Prix, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot, guys.